Welcome to the Viking Horn, official podcast of the Nottingham Vikings Ball Hockey Club, sponsored by the Nottingham legend, Maxi Muscle Sports Nutrition, Motorpoint Car Buying and the Stapleford Snooker Club. You can find out more about our club on our website and on all social media. For YouTube channel viewers, you'll see the links on screen. Anyway, let's sound the Viking Horn. Got the usual mob with me today.
Hello.
You all right? Good to have you all here. We're on new lockdown measures. We're a week into it. I think the only thing I'm surprised about, is how surprised everyone was that the London buses have been full up. I mean, you know, you get the people going back to work, and yet you talk about London, people are going to go back on the buses, aren't they?
Pete,
why are people surprised about that?
Pete, the only thing I was surprised about how good that intro was. It was almost like you pre-recorded it.
You know what? Right. You know what? That's probably the most serious I've ever sounded. It took me about 5 takes yesterday, and I was trying to get the right tone, and until I thought, right, that's good enough.
Yesterday. What about the rest of the week? How many takes did you do before that?
I think I averaged about 5 a day, if I'm honest. So I'll just stick to yesterday's numbers. But what I'm going to say is, if anyone wants to know how serious I am, if anyone looks up on the Vikings page the photos, look at the serious pose and look at my serious face when we got the new kit. That'll tell you how serious I am about things. So look that up.
I'll edit it out so nobody will know. All right.
Brilliant. Yeah, go for it. Yeah, nice one. Okay. Coming up on this week's show then, we found out if Benny completed his 5K for charity with a snapped Achilles. We discussed with Tyron his career so far in ball hockey. We've got ice hockey news with Andy Binns. Plus we go gaming as we are joined by the guys from CAPDRAGON ahead of their debut game release. Right. So we've spoke about we're under new lockdown rules. We don't need to go into that anymore. I think we're going to go straight into it, and we're going to talk about, did Benny complete his 5K? So,
is he here? Did he make it? Is he actually made it?
He's here. So he either didn't do it, or he's got a story to tell. So just to anyone who listened to the last podcast, I stitched him up a little bit. So we put a poll on the website, the Facebook site, and asked, should Benny do the 5K with his snapped Achilles just before he gets his boot taken off? And then 2, like how he should do it. So should he do it walking, hopping, or with a Zimmer frame? Am I right in saying the Zimmer frame won it? Am I right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, the Zimmer frame did win.
The Zimmer frame won it, but we couldn't find a Zimmer frame. We couldn't find a pensioner willing to give one up. So what we decided to do is he just walked it, didn't you, Benny?
I did, yes.
So
yeah,
the floor is now yours. I want you to tell us how the day started. You probably woke up with a few butterflies, so the floor is yours. Give us the day as it went for you.
I think I pretty much committed myself to doing it on the Friday. Once everyone pretty much voted unanimously to say do it regardless. It was like you say, it's a shame about that Zimmer frame, but I woke up, thought, right, this is it. I can feel it. So I went out. It was quite a warm day actually, so I got pretty hot. But I don't know how, but all of the fans seemed to have known that I was doing the walk because the streets were lined, full of people.
They're all clapping.
They were. Yeah, it was great to see. Everyone came out cheering me on as I was walking. Managed to do it in about an hour and 10 minutes, which I don't think is too bad given the circumstances. But yeah, it was just nice to see all the Vikings fans out there applauding me on my route.
Were they social distancing?
Yes.
We like to make sure our fans do social distance. We'd like a full attendance at games next season.
Yes.
Whenever we play. So you did do it.
Yeah.
Did you get a letter from the Queen? Are you going to be on the New Year's honours list?
That's yet to come through the post. I think with obviously lockdown measures and stuff like that, post is taking a little bit longer to come through. So I'm expecting that probably in the next week or so.
Brilliant. Well, let's hope so. So probably what's more important, mostly important, is have you donated to the charity that it was all in aid of? As of yet?
Yes. And
Okay.
because I was delayed, I doubled it.
So how much did you donate?
£10.
That's excellent. Well done, Benny. What an absolute sport you are.
Does that include fixing your mum's blinds as well?
He's already been paid for that, so the job's still not.
Needs to get the job done.
The job's not been done yet. Exactly, Tyrone. The job needs finishing, but obviously under the strict measures we're still under, that's not available to be done at the moment. But we'll get there in the end. Andy,
I just want to add something in though, just before we move on that one. I now want to nominate everyone who said I should do the walk to go and do a 5K.
Did one this morning.
I've done mine.
So there's other people who nominated or voted for me. I'd like them to now go and do it as well.
Yeah, I think there's
Challenge.
Carol,
That's
Mart.
Yeah, that's a challenge then. Challenge from the coach. I reckon there's plenty of our players who need a bit of fitness training out there at the moment. So, yeah, let's get it done, guys and girls. Andy, you did a 5K today as well, didn't you?
Not today, no.
Not today. When was it?
I think it was Wednesday. So I just did it walking back from the garage after I took the car in for its MOT.
Okay, but you did the 5K and you've donated.
Not donated yet, no.
Oh, come on, let's go. It's not about you. It's about It's not about you. It's about the charity. It's about the charity.
You want to see how much his car's going to cost first.
Yeah.
Come on, get the money in. Run for Heroes. Links on the Instagram page. So, speaking of clapping, and Benny, you mentioned that fans were lining the streets and clapping.
Yeah.
I recall when we did the last podcast, I think it was Mike who mentioned you're going to send your videos in of yourselves clapping for me and my work colleagues. I had my phone out ready to show them on Thursday night, and nothing came in. I was a bit disappointed. What happened there? False promises is not something we like to go by here at Vikings.
I had a violin lesson.
Okay. How are we looking for this week?
Well, I've got another violin lesson.
Right, okay. Well, can we cancel the violin lesson? I promised my work colleagues that this was going to come in. Like, my hockey team have said, look, we're doing the chemicals that are saving lives out there and cleaning all the apparatus being used. That my hockey team are going to send in a video of the various styles of clap that are available.
I need to keep up with the lessons because if I don't make it as a pro ball hockey player, it's my fallback occupation.
He's going to be the next Vanessa May.
The excuses are rolling in already. Tell you someone who did, I think, probably listen to the last podcast was Boris Johnson. He came out of 10 Downing Street clapping, I think it was with his wife. And he seemed to cover a lot of the bases we were talking about, Mike. Did you see the video?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I think he has listened to our podcast because there was plenty of nodding. There was even a glance to the sky. There was certainly lots of self-appreciation and grinning and clapping and sort of, he covered the whole sort of gamut of.
I think he also had a look in the direction of Buckingham Palace and realised there was no one clapping outside that door. So
he just gave them a wave.
He gave them a bit of a bit of a dirty look and a nod of disapproval instead of the nod of approval. Anyways, we'll move on from that. We're going to go straight into our interview with Tyron. Tyrone, are you ready for this? I mean, these questions have come in thick and fast over the week. We've put it out to the fans and players of our team. They've come thick and fast. So are you ready for what's coming your way?
Yeah, I've been looking forward to it. And let's go.
I'm going to give the first question or two to Benny. So when you're ready, Benny, here we go. Tyrone's questions.
So my question is, what made you want to come and play for the Vikings?
Well, there was a number of reasons really why I decided to join the Vikings. Unfortunately, age is creeping up, so I wanted to have some of my what I think is going to be my final seasons alongside playing with my mates. So obviously I started with Pete from day one, yourself, Ben, as well. So I thought it'd be good for potentially a last hurrah to ball hockey. So yeah, I thought, why not? Why not join Vikings? And obviously, Ben, you're a great coach as well. So, why not?
That's always a planned answer there, the great coach.
It was, wasn't it? Yeah. I've got a follow-up to that then.
Yeah.
If I'm such a good coach, why did you leave me 10 years ago?
Well, good question, Ben. Good question. Well, the reasons behind that, I suppose, really is I think I mentioned on the first podcast which we ever did that in ball hockey, it's a friendly environment, and for me, I wanted to get to know other people and play with other teams as well. And fortunately, I've been able to do that over the last couple of years, and I've enjoyed it. Made lots of good friends in ball hockey, and as I say, full circle. I've got my work at the minute takes up a lot of my time, so why not come back to my local team?
So you wanted to come back to the best coach then that you've been coached by?
Well, yeah. Saying? Well, who knows? He'll get the best out of me. He'll get the best out of me. Again.
Good.
Right. Thank you.
Next question's coming from Mansell. He says he's played for a lot of teams as an emergency goalie, but you have played for a lot more than him. How many have you played for, and why so many?
Wow. Well, I did have a think about how many teams I've actually played for, and I couldn't quite remember. So
the Steve Claridge of ball hockey.
Steve, yeah. Definitely.
He even had his flip-flops on when he was counting them.
I think potentially it might be 6 in total, and who I played for. But again, going back to the reasons of why, it's just again, playing with different teams has made me meet new people, get new friends from the back of it as well. So different challenges, I think, for me, and I've enjoyed every single moment of it, to be fair.
Trophy hunting.
How many trophies did you win whilst away from Benny's coaching?
I don't know. Maybe one. Maybe I think one. Maybe I don't know.
Ty, just to add to that, I've won 5 since I started.
Well, it's not all about the trophies at the end of the day, is it? It's about the enjoyment which you had during your career. I know that being a Liverpool fan and a Panthers fan as well.
He's got all the man of the match pictures behind him in that photo frame. Just move to the side tight there. They all are.
Yeah.
For the benefit of our YouTube viewers. For the benefit of our YouTube
fan base.
Yeah, please, viewers, send your photos of my best moments if you want, and I'll sign them and send them back.
There you go, folks. You heard it here first.
Yeah.
There you go. Get them in.
Yeah.
Andy?
Yep. So, question from Scotty. Why haven't you jumped ship yet, like your history shows that you normally have done? So you've been here for a full season now.
Well, we've not quite completed the season yet, have we? So
you're still here.
anything is possible. Just if anyone's got a checkbook and wants to pay me, sorry, Ben, but I might have to leave.
It's all right, you're gone. If anyone's listening, Ty's currently looking for a new team.
That's some guts there. On the podcast of representing the club that he's currently playing for, he's put himself out there to be signed by other players. I mean, ballsy stuff by our forward there, got to be said.
Thanks for the question there, Scott.
Okay, next question comes from Darryl Clark. This is a bit of a long one, so just bear with us. Last season, before the games against the Timberwolves, I asked about who was their most dangerous player. Somehow, you were named that man. I then asked if there's anything I should know, any tendencies to your game. I was told, just before he shoots, he goes onto his tiptoes like Fred Flintstone, 10-pin bowling. Why is that?
Well, first of all, thank you for the question, Darryl. It's great to think that I was called the most dangerous player. That is a compliment. I really like that. And to be fair, it was probably about right, to be fair, when I went past you and scored. But anyway, moving away from that bit. Well, Fred Flintstone was, he was a great guy. Everyone looked around him, looked up to him. He's an integral man. And, there's just so much about him. Why would I want to not base my ball hockey skills on a man like Fred Flintstone?
Can I just add to that as well? He does actually bowl like Fred Flintstone as well. I've seen him bowling. Me and Tyron do a lot of bowling together. And he does do the whole tiptoes, Fred Flintstone. So it's not just ball hockey. It's something it's a trait you've proudly used in your life, sporting life.
It's a massive skill. And
give us a yabba dabba do, Ty.
Pardon?
Give us a yabba dabba do.
Yabba dabba do!
Fantastic.
Brilliant stuff. So, Pete, does that make him your Barney Rubble then?
Well, I mean, I think he's gone with I might be Barney Rubble. I'm happy to carry his balls for him whenever he needs to.
Okay, swiftly on with the next question then. This one's from Richie, and he simply says, "Don't you miss playing in orange?"
Oh well, if I'm honest with you, I did enjoy my time playing with Steelers. Really fun. It didn't actually quite turn out how I wanted it to, though, to be fair, because the league changed the structure of it. So the hope was that, when the split and was going to... The Sheffield teams used to struggle back a couple of years ago to get numbers to come down to Nottingham often. So that was a struggle. So the matches wasn't competitive and stuff like that. And me, being the man I am, I wanted to help. So I thought, you know what, I'll go and play for Sheffield. And then they changed it to be a Sheffield-Manchester League. That one didn't turn out too well because I couldn't play that much when I was with them. But yeah, no, I did enjoy playing for Steelers. Just a bit of a shame, really, that I had to wear the shirt as such because being a Panthers fan, a lot of people let me know about that one.
On to the next question then. This one's from me, actually, Ty. Who is your biggest fan and why?
I've been thinking about who my biggest fan is. And I came to the conclusion, it's probably Ben Hitchin. Ben Hitchin is, he just wants to be me. He says he's got all the skill, but nah, he bases all his moves on what I do. If there's anyone, if you talk about Fred Flintstone and tiptoes, Ben does that too. He bases all his moves on me.
It's interesting you say that because in the first season that you played ball hockey under me, you were Ben Hitchin's regular line mate. And you had quite a successful season that season, and probably your most successful season yet in terms of points. And that was because you gave Ben the ball when he finished it off for you. So I think it's probably the other way around, and actually you're Ben's biggest fan.
Well, no, I disagree on that. And I think when we move to the question on Andrew Crooks, I think I'd have lots more goals if it wasn't for Ben Hitchin.
Dear me. Right, okay. So one quick question and a follow-up question. Who is the best pool player in the team?
Well, I don't like to say I'm the best at everything, but it's me.
Yeah, I haven't played you yet. Right, and the follow-up question is from Andrew Crooks. Why do you tape your sleeves up? Is it so people can see your big guns?
I don't know. I've always done that. Yeah, and I think it makes people may think that I try to make myself look like a hard hockey player, which I am not. I think when the fighting happens, I run the other way. But yeah, I think it's just something I've always done, to be fair, and it's just my style. You know when you've got the sleeves taped up, you know that I'm coming for you.
You mentioned Andrew a moment ago. He actually sent in another question. He says, do you know where the blue line is and its purpose?
Thanks for the question, Andrew. And yes, I do know what the blue line is, and it's the offside line. It's just unfortunate that early doors, when we talked Ben Hitchin earlier, he likes to dally around on the blue line, which then when I'm racing, as your direction was to me, Ben, get to net, get to net, get to net. So I was thinking, I've just got to get to net. And then he just stops before the blue line and I'm offside. Then unfortunately, everyone's looking at me. So yeah, I always blame my my fellow teammates for making me go offside. However, most recently playing with Kev, it's been a dream. Because it's great to have someone who can keep up with me. So
sorry, just to correct you, it's your former teammate Kev, yeah.
Yeah, Kev's not moving, team.
Oh, well, Kev, do you want some goals?
So Ty, this is the last question, I think. This is a deep one. It delves deep into our past. Okay. So, this is from me personally, okay? Can you reveal the truth behind our famous Loughborough Student Union incident involving myself, a Sambuca shot, and a lighter, which resulted in me visiting hospital? How bad did you feel afterwards? Did you feel like you'd lost your best mate?
Oh gosh, yeah, that was a terrible moment. That was.
Maybe we should paint a picture of the instance and what happened.
So we're at the Loughborough Student Union, and we've just been introduced to a drink called Sambuca. At that present moment, we were just going with the flow. So we started having a few shots, and then someone came with a lighter and said, "Oh, when you have these, you're meant to burn the top of it and then take out the flame and then have it." So we started doing a few of them, and we thought, "Oh, you know what? We'll get a bit more adventurous." So then we started taking the shot, putting your mouth back, and then getting the lighter and lighting it in your mouth. At the time, it seemed a good thing to do, and we was enjoying it. I think we had a couple of shots.
No, I literally did it. I was back of the line, looking at everyone, thinking, "I'm not sure I fancy this, but everyone else is doing it." I was naive at the time. Everyone else is doing it. Who else would want doing this other than my best mate Tyrone? Anyway, carry on.
Captain material.
So I did it first of all, and I had the shot. Someone lighted it in my mouth, and then after that, I did what I needed to do. I think I had another one straight after, and then Pete, he was hesitant on this, and he was like, "I'm not going to do it." And I was like, come on, mate, you've got to do it. So I thought, you know what? He was worried about doing it, so I said, "I will light it for you. You can trust me." So Pete takes the Sambuca, puts his head back. I get the lighter, and I think when Pete's taken the shot, he's left a bit on the side of, he's dribbled a little bit on the side of his mouth. So I lit it from the side of his mouth, and all of a sudden, 2 seconds later, Peter started jumping around, and then after that, didn't drink the shot. He spat it out on the floor, and it came out like a massive blue flame. And then I was like, "Oh gosh, what's happened there?" And then, okay, being intoxicated at that time, I just continued cracking on, dancing again. Pete's ran to the bathroom, getting water, splashing it all over his mouth, and then he was like, "Oh, I think you burnt me, mate. I think you burnt me."
I think you burnt me. It was like, "You have burnt me." I had to keep going back to the bathroom. And do you know what though? This is obviously it was an accident. I feel, I don't know if I was stupid. Probably, yeah, I was stupid. I stayed out till the very end, going back to the bathroom, mouth gradually swelling on one side, and I was student. I didn't care. I didn't care as much as I probably should have done. Went home at 3-4 in the morning. Woke up the next day. Had a massive burn mark around my face, like one side. Heroically, I would say again. I did go to college the next day. There's a very good reason for that. I was gunning for the 100% attendance Puma wallet and Puma bag that you got as a gift at the end of season ceremonies, which I did get, by the way. So it was all worth it in the end. But I think the big factor on that day was the fact that everyone was going around saying, "How did that happen? How did that happen?" And I was like, "Oh, it happened last night. Tyrone did it. Everyone was like, if that was me, I'd have knocked him out. I'd have, people like Tyrone knew, it was like jokingly, blah, blah, blah. But for some reason, Tyrone didn't go to college that next day. Like I did with my burnt mouth, and Tyrone didn't make it in. So I went and knocked on his door. He opened the door, and the look on Tyrone's face will forever be etched in my mind, of a look of shock, of I'm sorry. What can I do?
Believe it.
But yeah, it was a horrible moment, but something that we often talk about still and laugh at. As nothing, it was no lasting damage. Doctors say I was very lucky, but here we are. Tyrone, me and Tyrone were still best man at a wedding, and there we go.
Everyone out there, don't do sambuca shots. Well, flaming sambuca shots in your mouth. It's not worth it.
I don't think I've ever had one since, and that's a normal sambuca as well.
Yeah, I don't have it anymore now. I think it put me off the line.
Well, there we go. But you know what, Tyrone? Sorry, Mike, you were going to say something?
I was just going to say we should save that for the next hockey road trip.
Well, I mean, if you want me...
I mentioned that for a reason, because we've been reaching out to some of our fellow ball hockey teams all around the world. And if they're listening, I think there might be some in Russia, Austria, Vietnam, certainly America and Canada. So I was just going to put a sort of a sneaky invite in, really, that, if you want us to come over and demonstrate how to drink sambuca and play a bit of hockey too, then, give the Nottingham Vikings a shout.
I mean, look, I'm not getting involved in any sambuca ever again. So I'm happy to watch them do it and take notes, but just give me a Copperberg, I'll be happy.
Other ciders are available.
Yeah, other ciders are available, of course. Brilliant. Tyrone, you've been a brilliant sport. Great answers. Thank you for answering them honestly for us. Top man.
Thank you very much.
All the best in your next team, Ty.
Yeah, all the best. all the best in your future endeavours.
The reason you wanted me back.
Yeah, of course. So recently, after the last couple of podcasts, we've actually had people getting in touch and asking how they can get into ball hockey, basically, a bit more information. So what we've done is we've put something together, and here's a quick insider with our very own Mike.
What is ball hockey? Ball hockey is a fast-paced team sport, similar to ice hockey, except the game is played on foot, on a non-ice surface, and an orange ball is used instead of a hockey puck. Player check-in isn't allowed, which means you don't need all the expensive protective gear that you do with ice hockey. It's a great game to hone your fitness and stick handling skills. It's also a great alternative to five-a-side football if you fancy trying something different. A helmet is mandatory for training if you're 17 or younger. However, they are compulsory for league games regardless of age, and you do need to be 16 or older to play in the senior league. We play in the BHUK Central Conference League, playing out of Nottingham. So why not come down to one of our practice sessions? They're held between 7 and 8:30 p.m. on Friday nights at the Nottingham Sports and Fitness Centre in Clifton. We supply the kit, and everyone of any age, ability or gender is absolutely welcome. Check out our website and social media for updates to see when our training sessions will recommence. Hope to see you there.
I think we've got a new bit of new material for the podcast now, Mike.
Yeah, actually, well, it stems from you last podcast talking about keeping up with the Kardashians, because apparently this is your new secret sort of enjoyment with Lizzie of a night now. So, and I guess what it's prompted me to ask is how's your personal Keeping Up with the Allens show going?
Right. So let me just get into I'm going to go back to Keeping Up with the Kardashians for a minute. We've carried on watching it, obviously, and the more it goes on, the more I find it more and more bizarre, to be honest. There's one of them that's always portrayed to be not that nice, but then by the end of the episode, she sees the error of her ways, and everyone likes her again. The one I'm talking about, I think, is Chloe. Where I'm at now. So she's just got married to Lamar Odom, who he was an integral part of the Lakers double winning championship side of the late 2000s. And they basically gave everyone a week's notice. I think it was that they were going to get married. They met 3 weeks, a month or so. Then within that time, they decided we're going to get married. Okay. At this point, I was a little bit surprised at why this guy would get himself involved in this side of things, but he did. It only ended up one way. Obviously, we know now. But you know, I thought. But the worst thing I mentioned on the last podcast, my favourite out of the group was Bruce Jenner. She didn't tell him that they were getting married. Now he isn't her actual dad. But he's looked after them from a young age since they lost their dad, and they wouldn't tell him until and he wasn't going to walk her down the aisle anyway. Everything, I found that bizarre, and everything came together. She got married, and it was nice. I seen they did a clip, and the only saving grace for me was I got to see this guy involved who I'd watched win championships with the Lakers for a few seasons. It was a great guy, great player. So I'm watching someone who I like, and then when the wedding happened, it showed you clips of what my biggest hero, Kobe Bryant. So that was nice as well to see him. A bit sad because it made me think of what had happened earlier on this year. But you know, I did find out one thing though, that Kim Kardashian, me and her have something in common, and that is that she finds alcohol overrated. There we go. I'm also a big endorser of that. She didn't drink much. When the one time she did drink, she ended up in a mess, a bit like I did with Tyron there. And so we both decided not to do a lot of it. So you know, me and Kim have got something in common at least.
Has anyone actually watched an episode of Keeping Up with the Kardashians? Because I've got to be honest, I haven't.
No, never.
I mean,
I've watched a couple now.
Would I recommend it? I don't know.
Thank God you're going.
I mean, I'm not sure I'd recommend it, but yeah, just touching on Keeping Up with the Allens, because that's what it's all called. Obviously, we have been. We've got involved in a lot of cooking. We made a nice brownie the other week, probably the best brownie I've ever tasted. We were missing some. I mean, this might be useless information to anyone, to be honest, but missing some key ingredients, but we still managed to put it together and make a cracking brownie. The one thing that we couldn't crack was a cheesecake. A cheesecake, yeah. An egg, yeah. We managed to do that, but yeah. So, but you know, we're going to give that a go again this week, I think. So, yeah, the brownie was brilliant. What can I say? We helped find a cat. A cat was missing. We actually came across it a couple of times on a walk that we went on. Then realised someone was missing it in the area. So we helped direct them to where we'd seen it, and then eventually it got back to its owner, which was brilliant. So we hold ourselves 100% accountable for finding the cat. One thing we have said, and this is where I want to come into a bit of a discussion. So have we found eating that we're eating probably too much, eating and drinking too much recently in terms of our exercise to food ratio?
Yeah, definitely. Even though I've cut right down on my drinking and the amount of crap that I'm eating because I'm not exercising as much. Just like simple things from walking to work in the morning, from when you park up, running up and down a few flights of stairs each day. Now it's kind of get out of bed and roll into the other bedroom, and there's no more exercise from that.
So my answer to this. So what was happening was, Lizzie and myself, we do a lot of exercise, but you know, we realised we were eating too much and drinking probably too much of the wrong stuff, like, because we're just not getting that balance. And then finally, when we do come back to playing sports, we ain't going to be in a good position. So what we've done is, these simple things to do, guys, is cut in half what you buy at the shops. So Lizzie was buying, we were buying two large bottles of Prosecco and 2 small bottles of Prosecco, for an example. This is all for Liz, and I'd have a little bit. Prosecco, probably the most overrated drink out of all the drinks that could be mentioned in my alcoholic feelings, where I would have 4 bottles of Mountain Dew, my favourite drink. Okay, so what we've done now this week is we've decided to now cut that in half. So, and then along with all the other foods, so we didn't bake a cake this week, for example, and we feel a lot better for it. So there's a simple thing: if you've not got it in the house, you can't have it, can you?
Yeah. What? So are you just buying it less frequently? Do you mean?
So we were buying this stuff weekly.
Yeah.
And we were paying money on things that I wouldn't normally pay to make cakes and biscuits and things like that, and just a bit of extra food. But then we realised we didn't really feel good for it. And I think there's a lot of other people out there that are having the same problem.
Yeah.
So I think how you solve this problem is you don't get the stuff in the first place. And then whether you want it or not, you can't get it out the fridge or you can't get it out the cupboard because it's not there. So you're not going to have it. Or cut it, or when you go to the shops, you cut it in half.
Yeah,
agree. Yeah. But anyways, that's keeping up with the Allens.
Join us again for the next episode for an update.
Yeah, I mean, cheers for that. I mean, a lot of useless information into 5 minutes, but hopefully the last bit eventually, hopefully, is a lesson learned. And for our listeners in Vietnam and Russia, check out Keeping Up with the Kardashians. It's very good, apparently. I don't think I said that.
No, well, I am.
Okay. One thing that is exceptionally good on TV is the Michael Jordan and Chicago Bulls documentary, The Last Dance. Does anyone watch that?
No.
Not yet.
The silence is deafening. Okay. You need to watch this. It is unbelievable. It's the best sports documentary I have ever seen. Okay. The guy's work ethic, his determination to win and what he will do to win is, and this is coming to bringing sports into it now, as obviously, is unbelievable. Okay. One thing that has been touched on in one of the recent episodes is how he handled his teammates, and what he did with his teammates. And I want to try and ask your opinions on how maybe you would react to this and how you would, and Benny as a coach or myself as a captain, I can express an opinion on how I'd put this across from a non-professional level. Because what you've got to remember is Michael Jordan and the Chicago Bulls were the highest end of professionalism and as a basketball team and at the very top of the game. He was perceived by some to be somewhat as of a bully, by the ways that he would speak to his teammates, and how he would approach training sessions and how he would approach them in certain ways behind closed doors. And there was even one, Steve Kerr who's now coach of the Golden State Warriors, another successful team in recent years. He actually ended up punching him in the face during a training session. And you know, I don't agree with violence, don't get me wrong. It was something that Jordan owned up to and apologised. But Steve Kerr, I don't want to ruin this for anyone, but then comes back on the interview and says, well, it's probably one of the better things that happened to me, because then I came out of my shell a little bit and played harder and reacted better to certain situations on the floor in game time. All Michael Jordan, in my opinion, was trying to do was to push his teammates to a level where, and his point was, if they can't take pressure from me as the captain of the team and the leader of that team, then how are they going to deal with pressures against an opponent who are trying to win the same trophy and achieve the same goals as what they are at the end of the day? And I think it's how those people reacted to it was where he determined whether or not they were soft or whether they were ready for the fight. And I think if they came back and they were too soft, then basically he didn't want them on the team. But he managed to get that from that team. He managed to get the majority of them to play to a level. And then those guys, though, didn't realise that until afterwards, what actually happened. So I'm interested, like Benny, from a coaching point of view, like how far do you, from this level, let's again put it straight, that's professional. This isn't professional. how far would you go to push someone if you know that they can do better than what they're showing you?
Well, I think you just have to kind of look at the team will know this more than anyone else. My demeanour on the bench, for example, if we're not performing the way as good as what these players can do, I tend to raise my voice a bit and get quite angry with people. And some people will look at that and go, it's quite bullish. Who's he to shout at me, and so on and so forth. But I think I can relate to what he's trying to do there. I think it's kind of expected from me as a coach, but I think if it was a player, I don't think I'd stand for it, because at this level you kind of all playing because you're a group of friends.
Yeah.
Whereas it's different at the level that what Michael Jordan was at. So I'm kind of sat on the fence there. It depends on what your role is within the team as to how far you can push people.
I agree, and I think that's, like you say, you touch again on the fact that we're differentiating professional and non-professional sports, and I agree and understand with how, because Jordan was, I only got to see the back end of Jordan's career. So my hero in sports is Kobe Bryant, and he used a lot of traits from what Jordan, he learned so much from Michael Jordan, and you've seen that. I see that more now. I've watched a documentary about Jordan. I go, look, that's what Kobe did, right? And he pushed his teammates to a level which, you know, was sometimes borderline too far, but he was trying to get the best out of those guys. And there's been a quote come out recently from one of Kobe's past teammates, where Kobe he knew when players were good enough or when they weren't good enough. So he played on a few bad teams. And one of the players has come out this week and said one day, it was trade deadline day, or it was sort of like, it was the deadline for the trades. He came into the Staples Center or the practice facility and said to them all, and they're like, oh, what are you doing here? You're injured or something like that. And he's basically come back and said, I've just thought I'd come in and see you all before all you bums got traded. Right. And you know what? It must be, it can get frustrating to a point if in that situation, but these guys will look, their mentality was win and do whatever it takes to win. And that's something that I look up to. And it's something that you don't have to use in sports. You can use it in anything like work, you know, but you've got to be, you know, I think the world we live in now is, if I'm honest, is a lot softer than what it was back in the 90s. And that's from a sports and a everyday point of view. So I don't think Michael Jordan would necessarily get away with how he acted back then in these present times. But I just think it's interesting. And I would recommend anyone who hasn't watched the documentary yet, 10 parts, last 2 come out this week, this Monday on Netflix. Just watch it. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. Okay, moving on. And it's time to go gaming. And we'd like to wish a big Viking Horn welcome to Chris Allen and Chris Webster Ebbs from CAPDRAGON. How you doing, guys? You all right? Glad you can join us.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm good, thanks.
Nice one, guys. Now, first things first, right? We obviously noticed one important thing is you're both called Chris, right? So we're going to differentiate the two of you in the best way possible that we thought of, and that's we're going to call one of you Mario and the other one Luigi.
Great.
All right, so Chris, Chris Allen, you're my brother, obviously. I know you're a big Mario fan, so I'm going to call you Mario. Yeah, so you're Mario. Okay, so the first questions come to you. So you're about to release your first game it's called Night of the Thieving Drones. What gave you the idea for it?
So well, basically, Chris and I met up about a year ago. We're kind of looking at getting into the games industry with each other, and we kind of weren't sure what to do, were we? So
No.
I think it was Chris who kind of went through Google Play Store, Apple App Store, and kind of realised that the top games on there were kind of simple, you know, single kind of action, just kind of the simplest games you can imagine. So we kind of went away and thought about a game that would do that, that we could do, sort of thing. So I kind of came up with this idea of having a kind of a light that would shine down, and then you'll catch kind of thieves by keeping the light shone on them. And that kind of just turned into what we have now, which is a drone that moves around and with a torch, basically.
Brilliant. So, Luigi, can you explain the concept of the game a bit more for us?
Yeah, so the basic idea is, Chris covered it pretty well, but you've got this drone with a flashlight attached to the front of it, and you've got to control it through a maze, catching these robots who are coming in trying to steal treasure and whatnot. So you shine this light on them for a short amount of time, and then it fires like a beam at them, and you capture them. And you've got to keep doing that, keep protecting the treasures for a certain amount of time. And then after that amount of time, you if enough of the treasures survive, then you've finished that level.
So as the game goes on and you get to high levels, what I'm guessing is you get more of the other drones coming in to take the things from you, and it's quicker. Is that how it progresses? Yeah.
Yeah. You get drones with abilities that are harder to fend off against, and eventually they also start coming in quicker. And
that's great. Yeah, I understand. Yeah, brilliant. So,
sorry, I've got a question. Is the game out now, or is it going to be released soon?
It's not out now. Obviously, since lockdown started, we've had a kind of a work issue. We can't work together.
Yeah.
So we've kind of worked separately. So it's kind of delayed things a little bit, but we're trying to get out. I do get out by the spring, but it's probably going to be summertime now.
Right. Cool. So going back before you guys met or whatever, Mario, I'm going to come to you first. So, what gave you your initial interest in getting into gaming and computer game development?
Right. Well, gaming has kind of been with me all my life. We started out with a Game Boy, a Master System, and a Mega Drive. So I actually think I started out watching you playing the Mega Drive, Pete, from what I remember, and then one day I kind of just picked the controller up myself, started playing it, and enjoyed it, and then just carried on from there.
NHL 95, obviously.
Sorry?
NHL 95, obviously, for the hockey people out there.
Don't know about that. But yeah, and then get into games industry. Kind of, I got to my last year at A level. Wasn't quite sure what to do. I think the deadline was about to come up for university, and I was like, oh, what do I do? Do I sign up for if I do, what do I sign up for? And I was watching the night before. I think I was watching a DVD for like an animated film, but I was watching the extras and how they kind of made the characters, animated them and stuff like that. I kind of thought, well, actually, that's what I want to do, but I want to do it for games. So that's kind of what made the decision for me. It's kind of a weird transition, I know, to get from animation to programming, but that's kind of what made the decision for me. I think the day after that, there was somebody at school from De Montfort University who was kind of talking people through the options. I kind of said, well, look, this is actually what I want to do. And they said, well, yeah, come to our university and we'll set you up. So 4 years there, came out with a first class degree in games programming and haven't looked back since.
Brilliant. Luigi then, so what's the design process and where do you get inspiration from? You might have touched on it a little bit already, but if you can expand on it a little bit, that'd be great.
Well, so we wanted to keep it simple because we wanted it to be able to compete with games already out there by various studios, Ketchup, Voodoo, those sort of ones that just release all these tiny little mini games on the App Store, and then they somehow make it to like 1 and 2 and the top downloads and stuff. And then the inspiration came from basically, again, a similar thing, just wanting to develop a simple game. And then we brainstormed a few ideas, and that was what we had. Brilliant.
So,
how about, sorry, Pete, I was going to ask, how about a Nottingham Vikings ball hockey inspired game? Because presumably you'd have a coach that slaps players. a Sambuca drinking captain? I mean, you've got the material there. What do you reckon?
Oh, it's definitely something to consider.
That's a no. Thanks for that. Actually, I've got a follow-up question.
Oh,
I've
yeah?
got a follow-up question to that. Have you ever played ball hockey?
Only a couple of times.
Right.
I wasn't very good at it.
We're not either.
I've played a couple of times myself back in secondary school. I wasn't bad at it. I was better than other sports, let's say. But yeah, just a couple of times. Going back to the question about kind of doing a ball hockey game, I don't think we would rule anything out right now. I think we kind of want to do games that aren't normally kind of looked at. That take subjects aren't normally kind of taken on by other companies. I think we kind of want to, just do something that unique and give kind of different things a chance. And ball hockey, those kind of things would give us a kind of springboard into doing that.
So the official game of the Nottingham Vikings Ball Hockey Club could be something we could endorse and get it done down the line when you are available.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Well, you had it here first.
Would you have to take 3D scans of all the players to get like the lifelike reimagining of the team?
We can't do this at the minute yet, but we'll see.
Right, we'll just go wait first.
Yeah.
I was reconsidering leaving the Vikings now.
There's a couple of spaces going now.
I can just picture us in those black suits with the light bulbs around us, where you may have to record the motions and all that sort of thing. But that's a bit. You're a bit further. We need to be further down the line of you guys, obviously, yet. But it's great to know that you wouldn't chuck that idea completely in the bin. So
30 years and we'll get around to it. All right.
Brilliant. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure Andy will still be playing. And Mike as well. So who knows what I'll be doing? Probably drinking Sambuca in a bar somewhere with Tyrone.
Have your own TV series, Keeping Up the Allens.
Yeah, well, you never know. You never know. So moving on swiftly. I think I'm going to come to you, Mario. Where did the name CAPDRAGON come from?
Right. So it kind of came from. So I work in the shelter shop at the minute, and that's where I met Chris as well. One day on the shelves there was a big kind of dragon plushie, and I love dragons. I will tell you, I love dragons. And it kind of sat there, and I kind of thought, no, I shouldn't? And I kind of thought, well, I don't know where to put it, so I left it. Went back the next day, and it was still there. So waited the whole day, still there at the end of the day, and I thought, right, okay, I'm taking it. So I took it put it on the shelf, put a cap on it, and kind of just left it as a decoration. Little while, was it? Yeah, it would have been mid last year. I was kind of looking at it and thinking, actually, that'd be a good name, good mascot for a games company. So I kind of pitched it to Chris and kind of said, oh yeah, just haven't got anything better to use, so that's what we did.
So just with that answer there, Chris, it gave me an idea for your Christmas present this year, and so I'm wondering, can we get a T-shirt and it's got quotation marks, and in the quotation marks it simply says, "I love dragons." I found that brilliant. We'll get that on there. That'll be wrapped up this year for you. If you don't, I failed.
Yeah. Just to kind of take on to that, I mean, perhaps it's a bit off topic, but the amount of things you find in charity shops is amazing. They do a lot of
you've got your inspiration from something you've seen in the charity shop, so you are right.
I mean, yeah, because I do get inspired. Quite going back to the previous question, I do get quite inspired by stuff I see, around me. I don't always look for it, but if the stuff I see around us, the stuff I think about, that's where it comes from for me, and it's like, sometimes you'll hear something or you'll get a what if question. That's just where it comes from, and you just don't know what's going to happen. But if you get an idea, just run with it.
Brilliant. Luigi, what's your favourite? This is going to come to both of you. So, Luigi, what's your favourite game on the market currently, and why?
Ooh, probably still Guitar Hero.
Guitar Hero, wow.
Yeah.
You got the mic set up as well, so you get the whole kit.
Unfortunately not. I only use the guitar, but...
Oh, I used to do an amazing rendition of Living on a Prayer.
Nice.
So, yeah, get the whole set. It's brilliant. Chris, what about Chris? Call you Chris then. Mario, of course.
Mario, yeah. We'll go for Mario. Okay. So, like Chris, I kind of saw this question. There's a lot of great games out in this generation. So you've got Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, you've got Animal Crossing, you've got Super Smash Brothers, you've got Mario Odyssey. I like to kind of go with something different and say a game called The Outer Wilds. So The Outer Wilds is kind of so you basically play as this kind of alien character who's tasked with going out into a solar system, exploring it, kind of discovering, kind of making discoveries about a race of beings that used to live in that solar system, but seem to have disappeared. It's basically just one kind of big, kind of cryptic puzzle, one kind of big kind of discovery adventure, and you give you a spaceship and you go and do what you like. It's such an amazing game. What can I say? This is. Yeah, sorry, I've lost the train of thought there.
It's very good.
It doesn't always take itself serious as well, so it's kind of like there's kind of funny characters in it. It's kind of you kind of discover funny things, but it's a massive in design and development of a world or an area just from the ground up, because everything's just been so well thought out and everything just fits in. And when you make a discovery, it's amazing.
Oh, cool!
Like there's no hand holding at all. You just have to go for it and see what you can work out.
Talking about discoveries and development.
Yeah.
What do you reckon is going to be like the next earth-shattering development in gaming? Technological development, say over the next 10 years. Where do you think it's going to go?
Chris might know a bit more than I do, but I'll try and answer. So. Probably from a software point of view, you'll be looking at kind of better rendering techniques, better physics techniques, maybe some artificial intelligence as well to kind of improve how the game kind of responds to you, sort of thing.
Perfect for the ball hockey game.
Sorry?
Perfect for the ball hockey game.
Absolutely, yeah.
We need some artificial intelligence. Yeah, sorry.
Or some real intelligence would be nice.
Hey, he's been sat here listening to his whole podcast, and let's bless it, he's got it bang on, hasn't he?
Yeah, that was set up nicely, by the way.
Yeah, it was.
Carry on.
So I can probably direct people to the video put out by Epic Games a few days ago for their next version of their engine, Unreal Engine 5, because it just shows kind of literal photorealistic rendering of worlds and how the physics work, how the lighting works, that kind of thing. From a hardware point of view, what can I say? So kind of maybe a bit out there, but two ideas. So the first idea I've had is like a kind of modular console. So you kind of, like a PC, you kind of buy different components for it. So better processors, better graphics. So you can kind of upgrade your console as you go along. The second idea will be, I think we've kind of seen it on PC, but I think you're going to get, by the end of the decade, a console where you stream games rather than install them. So we've kind of seen NVIDIA do one, we've seen Google do online streaming services for games. You might start getting consoles doing that as well by the end of the decade, possibly. You might also see kind of more kind of connections with mobile phones, because mobile gaming is probably the biggest part of gaming right now. So you might kind of see more kind of mobile gaming going on as well, but kind of consoles connecting to mobiles, or even consoles becoming more mobile as well.
Yeah, that's brilliant. So
Thank you.
lastly, question, Luigi, where can we download your demo from, and where will we be able to download your game from once it's available? Because it all sounds pretty interesting. So
yeah, so currently the demo of the game is available on our website, which is the CAPDRAGON.co.uk. The final game will be released first on the Google Play Store and then eventually we'll release it as well for the Apple App Store as well when we get around to figuring Apple out.
Yeah.
Okay.
We've had a few issues with that because you can't actually build the game for an Apple device unless we have a Mac.
Okay.
So we left a Mac in the office when lockdown happened because we didn't have time to pick it up. So we can't actually do the build for that yet.
Okay. I'm sure you'll get around it between you. You know what, you guys have been absolutely fantastic with your information. It's been an encyclopedia of knowledge regarding gaming, and it's something, you know, a lot of people are out there interested in. And Chris, being my brother, you know, I've seen you grow up and be into this sort of thing for years and years, and something you've always wanted to do. And I'm sure I speak in terms of everyone else here as well. You know, we wish you all the luck in the world going forward. You know, there's so much information you're giving us there. You're so passionate about it, the pair of you, and it's really been useful hearing from you today. So all the luck in the world with it going forward. And you know what, we'd love to have you back on further down the line when you're a bit further progressed with what you're doing, when your new game comes out, and see where we're going next with it. All right.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much for having us as well. This is the first time I've done anything like this. We want to do it kind of ourselves as well. So maybe we'll be seeing a CAPDRAGON podcast, and we'll be inviting you guys on to talk about what you're doing. Maybe we'll get around to building your ball hockey game.
Yeah. You know what? It'll be our absolute pleasure, guys. So once again, thanks a lot. Good luck, and you know we'll speak to you again very, very soon. All right.
Yeah. Thank you very much, guys.
Thanks, guys. Take care.
Thank you.
All right.
Okay, fantastic stuff. Right, it's time for ice hockey news with Andy Binns.
Thank you very much. First news this week is something that we've been probably working on for most of the season in building a youth team for the Vikings. So we've put some wheels in motion with contacting a few parents to see whether they're like the children that have been attending want to like kind of join the team, and we've been quite successful in getting some. So what we're actually after now is recruiting to build on the team that we've got and get more players in, and also like hopefully have two teams if we can, one under 16 and one under 13.
Brilliant. Ice hockey wise, Andy, there's not a lot really been going on this last couple of weeks, is there?
No, I think one of the biggest things from the Elite League this week was Joey Haddad's re-signed for the Cardiff Devils. So it's a pretty good signing for him, and the Devils really. He's been there for quite a few years now.
Yeah, so
he's a good, strong player.
So with that, Andy, something that I've always looked at when regarding Panthers. Now he would be now considered as a core signing for them. He's been around for years. The one signing I always used to look forward to as making as a Panthers fan was of Matthew Myers. I thought he's an integral part of our winning, our successful seasons, and it was sad. It was, you know, whenever he wasn't there was something missing, and I still believe that now. How important is it, do we feel, to, you know, have that core of a side who are always there? It can lead to success, can't it?
Yeah, I think both Belfast and Cardiff have proved that year after year with the way that they've had continuous success throughout different like cups and titles. That if you can keep your core base year on year and only have a few kind of like key players like replaced, it really does help you for the coming season. Because if you look at the Panthers this year, I know that we didn't really see the season through, but we've more or less had 100% team turnover.
Cool. Yeah, exactly. So what else we got? Anything else, mate?
Glasgow Clan actually put a really interesting article out last night in regards to season tickets, webcasts, and their head coach, because Zach Fitzgerald departed ways with the Glasgow Clan earlier, just at the end of the season. They've quite rightly said that at the moment there's actually no information about season tickets. They can't speculate, or they don't know what's going to happen. So rather than saying to the fan base that they're going to be like X amount or whatever, they've said that they don't know. They are looking at webcasts potentially going forward, but like they've said, it don't really bring in enough revenue to keep a business afloat. And one thing they have also considered, which the Murrayfield Arena put out a couple of weeks ago, was like capacity within the arena when they are available to open. They don't know whether they'll be allowed 1,000 people in, 1,500, or they'll have to play behind closed doors. So it's kind of watch this space, and I think they've done quite a good article, to be fair, going out to the fans and saying, look, we don't know what's happening. This is what could happen, but we will keep you updated.
Oh, and what else we got, mate?
That's it, I believe.
That's pretty much it. So it's been a quiet week. It's been a quiet couple of weeks, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Cool. Well, thanks a lot, Andy. That's, you know, there's little information we've got, but, you know, brilliant stuff. It's good to know what's going on around the ice hockey, especially the home league. So good stuff. Cheers for that, mate.
And certainly big news with potential recruitment for juniors and having a second team as well for the Vikings. So, you know,
definitely.
If you're out there listening and you've never tried ball hockey before, you've got a daughter or son who want to give it a go, as well as yourself, we've got, you know, seniors and hopefully junior teams available to play for. So get them down. Good stuff. So if you've enjoyed this week's show and you are interested in potentially sponsoring the club in the future, we have various packages available. More information is available on our website and our Facebook page. Just get in touch with us through that and we'll be able to get back to you and with some information as soon as we can for you. That's all we've got time for tonight. Listen, rate and subscribe on Apple, Spotify and Castbox, and watch us on YouTube, obviously. Send us some feedback again. All your feedback's really important and helpful to us. So from Mike Lee, Andy Binns, Tyron Anderson, Benny Tring and Mario Luigi, thanks for joining us again. Thanks very much for being with us. Take care, stay safe out there, and hope to see you very, very soon. Good night. Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye.
Cheers. Bye.
Bye.